I wanted to give you a peek inside my kitchen account. There's been some new changes coming down the pipeline, and also wanted to show you how easy it is to get a project set up, and it doesn't matter that it's not connected to a CRM or your task management tool or whatever I've been talking about in the previous few videos. But before I dive in and show you my super personal kitchen account, we need to have an introduction really quick before I get that personal. If we haven't met before, my name is Caitlin. I run Launch the Damn Thing. I'm a Squarespace educator. I've been a longtime graphic designer since 2006. So I've worked with a lot of clients on a lot of projects, and I have a lot of systems and tips and processes to share. That's what I'm doing in today's video. So let's dive into my kitchen account, and I'll show you how I start new projects in Kitchen, which is my client portal software, just in case you weren't aware. Okay, this is the inside of my kitchen account. This is actually the home area. So when you first log in, you'll see your recent folders, your recent items, and then if you scroll past that, you also have a quick create menu, so you can start anything new from there pretty quickly. And if we want to look at the template that I have, these are archived projects. So this is an archived template. I keep it in my archived folder because I want to be able to restore it, make an edit, archive it again, and then turn that into a template before I archive it again. This allows me to have a working model, so I don't have to recreate the template every time, just in case there's ever anything wrong with the template making process. So I have this living, breathing thing. Anytime it needs an edit, I can make the change and then create a new template out of that change and then replace the listed template here. So I just remove it, the one that I don't want anymore. What's in here? The task board, so all of my to-dos, all of the homework, so I can quickly just assign the client to the things, delete the ones that are not relevant to that particular project, and I don't have to create this stuff every time. And you can see there are subtasks in some of these for myself just to keep me from having to remember all the things, because that's the whole point, right? So if we go back to the main project folder, this is the landing page that the client sees, and that's why I've made it somewhat attractive. So I've branded the icons for these pages. I've given them a specific icon to try to correlate like what it does with what it is. And then we also have a messenger. So now we can have a live chat style experience with the client. When I send one, it shows up in their inbox, and they can actually respond to that email, and it will show up here for me and for them. So that keeps it in sync, keeps it easy to use, all of the things. I love it. It's amazing. And they're adding some new features very, very soon, maybe even this week if we're lucky. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you're already in there. Anyway, I also have this embedded tally form for their content guide, so they have access to that. And then they have the project folder system. This is the KISS method, the Keep It Simple Stupid, what I teach my students in the Ultimate Client Portal System course. And this is the folder for the documents. This is the folder for the brand assets. This is the folder for the photos, the videos, and then I hide this one and deliver it later. That's where I put their deliverables. So everything that I have designed, edited, whatever, and I dump it in that folder, and they can download it on their end from there. And then I just have this private doc in case I need to jot down notes or anything. I don't typically always use that, but it's there if I need it. So inside the documents folder, there's nothing. They can just literally drag and drop whatever they need to in there. Same thing for the brand assets. It's completely empty folder, but the idea is they can put in their logos, their graphics, their icons, their fonts and patterns and whatever. For the photos though, there are two subfolders, both of which are empty. They can put their stock photos in there if they have any, and the photos specifically of them, so I don't have to sort between the two. Same thing for the videos. Stock videos, videos of them, and then I'm just saying like, here's an example of what to put in this folder. Your story, your greeting, your thank yous, your testimonials, licensed stock photos for commercial use. Hint, hint, you need a license. And then deliverables. This is just the folder that contains all the final files and assets that I'll deliver when the project is over, that they will take with them. So anyway, that's the gist of the whole thing. And then anything that I create that I don't need right now or want to kind of put out of sight temporarily, I just dump it in that folder, and they don't see that because the privacy level on that folder is for internal purposes only. So that would be me and my team if I had one. But they can see these four when they log in. With that in mind, that's what we're going to recreate, and we're going to create it for a test project so I can show you how quickly I can create this system, because I don't have it directly integrated with Dubsado, my CRM, and I don't have it directly integrated with Asana or anything like that. They do have a lot of Zapier triggers and actions though, so potentially you could figure out how to automate some part of this. I do actually need to reach out to Stefan and ask him if it's possible to use a template in a create a project thing. I haven't quite figured that out, but anyway, that's a thought. If I figure that out, I'll be sure to share it here on the channel. Okay, what I'm going to do is once they've signed, paid, sealed, delivered through Dubsado and the booking process, then when the project is officially in the calendar, I've gotten the initial payment and all of that. I come into Kitchen, I go on to templates, I select the template that I want to duplicate a project or create a project with, and then I click use a template. I'm going to call this demo for YouTube video. I'm going to keep it in my home location, which is all of this right now, because I'm still using Kitchen relatively newly since I first found it again. Like a few months ago. All of my folders are projects, as opposed to if I had, like, this is actually a repeat client. If I had worked with them in Kitchen before, it would just be the name of their business. And then inside that, it would have multiple templated folder systems inside so that they have one place to check all of the projects where they've worked with me. That's not the case yet, because she didn't work with me in Kitchen before we were in Notion. So this is going to be a fun experience for her to compare. So anyway, later, if I come in here and want to duplicate the template and put it in a specific client folder, then I would choose the right subfolder in here. But I'm not going to do that today. So select a location, we'll keep home, that'll show up in the sidebar here directly. And then if you ever want to turn off anything in the duplication process, for example, if it had for some reason files or invoices in the template folder, then you could turn off whatever you don't want to copy over. But since mine is empty and it's structural only except for the tasks, I'm going to bring everything over because there's no comments or anything that I don't want. So I'm going to click save, and it's going to take a few seconds and it's going to recreate this system for me. As soon as it's done, oh, there we go. So we have demo for YouTube video. And if you have access to the files and whatever, this one right here that just made like yesterday. So I already had her favicon because we did that last year with her other project. And so I just uploaded an image for that. That's why all of these are unique. But if you don't have that, you can always just search for something. They have a lot of icons to choose from, and then you can pick the color here. You can set your own custom brand colors, or you can pick on the slider, whatever you want to do. Then you can rename it. Usually I do their initials or their company initials and then colon and then the name or type of the project that it's going to be, so I can find it quickly in the list. And also later, because all of these are drag and drop, when I create a new folder and then slide these into the client level folder, the top level folder, that will just be the brand name. And then I'll have an easy way to see like, oh, that was the website merge. This was the design date. That was a logo refresh, all for the same person, if that's the case. So anyway, that's my naming convention. You can also click this button to change out the cover image if you want to. My students in the course also have a Canva template. They can design it, export a JPEG, and then upload that here to really make it custom for the client. You can also change the colors of the icons to make it their brand colors and not yours. Not going to do that today though. That's a little more than this tutorial is intended to be. Now I have that same list of tasks I didn't have to recreate. I have my same list of tasks I didn't have to recreate, and we can collapse all of these columns because there's nothing in them yet. And if we go back in here, their homework is already there. Fun fact with Tally and the way that I teach my students to use this form, you can actually pre-populate in my copy, in my template, which is not this link, by the way. But if you want to pre-populate their name and email in the homework, there is something that you can add to the end of the URL that will do that if you have the correct hidden fields in here, which I do in my copy of the template. So when I get her finally booked in and whatever, what I would do is I would edit this link to add or append that little string at the end. And that way, when she opens this, her name and email will already be filled in, and then she can just jump in and get started. That's a fun little tidbit. Making this related to or for this specific client, what's the order of the system? Well, what I typically do is invite them to the folder. So let's do that, share. And then on clients, I'm going to type in my test client account. So now my test client has access to all the pages inside of this project, including the tasks. So now we can also assign the tasks to my client, but we're not going to do that yet, because we don't want them to get an astounding level of notifications. So I'm going to go to the client and I'm going to view their profile in my kitchen account. Now that we can see the profile in the kitchen account, we're going to click this 3-dot menu up here and click impersonate. And this is really important because now we are looking at kitchen through their eyes. We can see what they see, which is the super important thing about using a dedicated client portal system, because you can't do this with tools like Notion and ClickUp and Monday and whatever other collaborative project management tools you've probably used before. Now that we're acting as them, we are also looking at it as them. Like, for all intents and purposes, we are them. So we're going to be very careful here, but we're going to go up to their profile icon in the top right corner and click on notifications. And we're going to turn everything off. We're going to turn everything off, slide down to make sure all of the toggles are off. And then we're going to go back over to the tab where I am not impersonating them, back to the project, and we're going to assign all of their tasks. Okay, so now I've assigned all of their tasks to them. Before you do that, it's probably a good idea to delete some. Like in this case, she already has a website. We just designed it last year. Now we're adding a bunch of stuff to it and reorganizing some things. So I don't need her to do this. I'm going to remove that task so she sees less. Let's say I've customized this. Now that we've assigned her all the things, the next step might be that you want to give her your scheduling links for whatever calls are part of the project, or you can actually grab the direct link to the task or project folder. So let's do that. Let's go to project. I'm going to go to brand assets and I'm going to copy link, go back to tasks, click here, edit description. I'm going to select this text and I'm going to change the link to the specific brand folder inside her account, not just like a general link to something she may not actually be able to see. So next would be the website photos and videos. So let's do that. This one, copy link. And that was photos. So we'll change this one first. Paste. And I'll remove the old one, save the new one, save. And now we'll go to videos, copy link, edit. And this is not something you have to do. It just makes things a little bit easier for them. So you don't have to go fish around for it. Save. Okay, so now we have that one done. Client workbook. So that would be, let's close that. Grab this one, copy link. Write whatever you want, make it bold, paste in the link, and make it a heading, and then save. So now that one's done. And then when I have the gift, I'll insert the tracking number and whatever there too. Okay, so now we have their tasks assigned, the links are in there, they've gotten the invitation to the project. Now it's time to go back into their impersonation. Now that we're all done, let's turn on strategic notifications so that we can control what they do and don't see for them, so they don't have to think about this. But we will turn on an email when someone invites to a resource, so they get an email from the portal that says, Caitlin's giving you access to this thing, with a link to literally go look at it. And then we'll do a thread is created. Message is sent in thread because that's related to the conversations or their live chat function. We'll do a new message is sent. I don't turn on mentions because it's too easy to get duplicate notifications that way. New task is created. I don't know that I'm going to do that. Task is assigned to me because this is them. Task is completed or activated. New comment is sent. Task section is changed. Task is due. There we go. So I'm just going to do that for all of these in the same line. That way they get in-app notifications, so in the browser portal, and the push notification, so in the browser portal, and then their email as well. So they get as little as possible. And you can test this out on your own when you set this up to see what notifications we're actually getting for this and what we're not. So let's hop back into my account. And the last thing that I do is send an onboarding message. So what I'll do is I'll look at my saved replies and I'll see, okay, I have a pre-written email for onboarding for 2-week websites specifically. So I'll plug that in and I'll say, hi, test. And then I've bolded the name of the project where I can swap that out. So we'll do upcoming. And this is just their reminders for how to use the portal. It would be a good idea to link the tasks, the messenger, and the files folders. So if we want to do that, we can do copy for the tasks, paste, okay. And then for the messenger, we'll copy link for the messenger, copy, paste, okay. And then for files, copy, paste, okay. And if you happen to leave this window, typically speaking, historically speaking, whatever you type in here stays as kind of a draft until you actually hit send. So even if you navigate away from the page and come back, it should still be here, just FYI. Okay, so let's look for anything else in my onboarding email template. Oh, the guide. So let's do that. Let's go to task template. Click on the copy link, go back to Messenger. Okay, so you can see it's still there. It's still in progress. It's saved my changes, all the things. So let's do this. Copy, paste. And this is not a doc, it's a task. It's just a simple way to blah, blah, blah. So then I'll hit send. And now the test will get this in their inbox. So let's take a look at what that might look like. Okay, so this is the email that the portal sent to test is the client when I invited them to the folder. When you send an invitation to a brand new client that's never been in your portal before, there's an opportunity for you to paste in a specific message without rich text formatting, but the test client already existed. I didn't have that option here, but they can click the view folder link and it takes them right into the portal without the password because a magic link is built into that particular button. So that's pretty handy. And then this is the message that they got in their inbox telling them I sent them a message in the portal, and you can see what that looks like. They can see the entire message, they can see all the links, and now it's important for you to see how those links are useful. So it took a few extra seconds for me to link those words, but now that I have, they can click that and go directly to the task, click that directly to the messenger and the files, and click that and go directly to the portal guide or whatever. They have all of that. Then they can also click that to view the conversation, which will take them into their portal and jump them right to the messenger. And you can see that had a little red dot here that says, hey, we've got a new message. And now they can see there's an unread message. So if they say, and press send. Now, if I hop back over to mine in just a few seconds, I will see their little unread notification here. When I start typing a message, you'll also see this little down caret, which will basically allow me to schedule the message for a time during my office hours, for example, if I'm responding on like a Sunday evening or something for some reason, and I can actually schedule it to send on a Monday morning, which is super nice and useful to have. You can also do audio messages with Kitchen's Messenger, which is pretty cool. So anybody that loves Voxer would also be able to do that in here. There we go. Now we can see the client's message here. If they had responded to the actual email, like here, in just a couple of minutes, we'll see that message in here too, even though they sent that from their actual inbox outside of the portal. While we're waiting on that, let's check on their notifications. Let's go back over to their profile and they can see they have in-app notifications because I added all of those tasks. We're going to mark all as read and we're going to archive them. This is also something you can do for them before you actually turn their notifications back on so that when they come in, they only see whatever you want them to see going forward once you've adjusted the notifications for them. So it looks like we have a new message. Let's click that to scroll down. And now we can see that they replied from their email on this date and time. And we can also see, if we click the little eyeball here, we can see the test client looked at it on this date at that time. And we can also see an email icon when the message has been sent via email rather than through the actual portal, which is pretty cool. So that's basically all that there is to it. I use my CRM to book the project, take the payment, get the contract signed, and then once that's done, I just come in here, I click templates, I click that, I click use template. It makes the whole project folder for me. I invite the client to the space and then turn their notifications off, do whatever I gotta do, then turn their notifications back on, send them a pre-written onboarding message, link up whatever I want to link up, and then hit send, and I'm done. It actually doesn't take that long, and the experience for them is really simple and easy and streamlined. And all of the things. They don't know that I'm using Asana to manage my own tasks, Dubsado to book the projects and manage the client relationship, and Kitchen to manage the project with them in a collaborative effort. Hopefully that's helpful for you so you can see exactly how this process works and get you excited about trying Kitchen for yourself. They do have a free plan that may or may not change in the future, but you can always try it for free and make sure you take advantage of that lifetime payment. If you get in there and you love it, just like I do, spoiler alert, you might become a big Kitchen fan pretty quickly. So they have that lifetime payment. If you go to launchthedamnthing.com/kitchen, you can take advantage of the lifetime payment and never pay again and have access to all these features, which is pretty fucking cool. So anyway, that's all I have for you in this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.